This is the No Excuses Coaching Podcast with Ryan Montes and Alana Banks, where we discuss the mindset, the attitude, and the strategies of elite coaching. Okay, so Ryan, I love this. We got a question from our amazing No Excuses Coaching Podcast listeners, or one of our No Excuses Coaching Podcast listeners. And This is a really, really great question, and something that I think many coaches have, had to deal with. I know I certainly did, and I imagine you did too. But the question is when you're starting out, knowing that, testimonials, feedback about your work is so important to building trust and demonstrating your expertise. But if you're just starting out and you haven't had any clients yet, then how do you get the testimonials, right? Like, how do you get testimonials when you're just starting out, when you haven't really had many clients yet, but you know that testimonials are so important?
Yeah. So we got the question from one of our listeners, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, thank you, Jen.
Great question.
Actually, her and I, we actually wound up chatting. Jen and I got on a quick call to chat about this idea that she had for a question to address on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
And this was actually last week, and I'm so excited about this topic that, we're recording it now this week. And so, the question centered is around testimonials and working with clients, which really, is about social proof. And when you're a service provider, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business person, when you're selling anything, social proof is really important. That does not mean you're popular, although you may be. It does not mean, you're a highly social person, although you may be. What it means is you're able to demonstrate that other people have experienced, you and or your service and liked it and were happy with it. If you can demonstrate that, and when you can demonstrate that and share that information, usually through a testimonial or a case study, it makes the decision for somebody who's looking at you and considering whether or not to work with you much easier. It's the kind of information that people really want. They want to hear from other people who've already worked from you to decide whether they want to work with you. And the main, sort of tool that we use to share that information with our followers or potential clients is testimonials. So the frustrating thing can be for a new coach or for somebody who's growing their business is, you're highly trained, you're highly skilled, you're very ambitious, you've helped a lot of people during your training, working in partners or working in practice, you've helped people, on a voluntary basis, maybe giving away some free coaching sessions or hypnosis sessions or whatever it is that you do. But you don't have, some people don't have any testimonials, or they don't have many testimonials or whatever. And so what do, right? In order to get testimonials, we feel like we need to serve clients and get them great results. And then they give us a testimonial, hopefully a video testimonial. Mm-hmm. But in order to get those clients who get great results and attract them in, have them happy to exchange money for our service, we need to have the testimonials. It's like a catch-22, so to speak. That's what I think so far. Yeah. And luckily, I think we both have lots to share that'll be empowering for the new and growing coaches out there.
Yeah. This was definitely something that I experienced along with many other people that I know in the coaching industry. And it is that question. It's just like, how do you get the testimonials if you don't have clients yet?
Yes. And I have open next to me my document that I created a few years ago. Alana, maybe you remember it. It's called Killer Testimonials by Ryan Montes. How to elicit amazing testimonials to boost your brand easily and quickly, even when you haven't had a bunch of paid clients. Mm-hmm. By the way, listeners, if you want this PDF, shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll send it to you for free if you want it. Awesome. I'm gonna share a bunch of the information from here, and I know you have some good tips. But before we get into those, I want to talk about the relationship between clients who pay and money, mm-hmm. and quality testimonials, because this is something also that came up when I was chatting with Jen the other day, and that is the testimonials you get from clients who've paid you what your service is worth are much more valuable and usually much more enthusiastic than the testimonials you get from clients who, you've worked with on a pro bono basis or on an energy exchange basis or especially on a free basis. Because there's this principle in that is that somebody who is investing in a service subconsciously opens themselves up to receiving lots of value in exchange, versus somebody who's getting a service for free it's actually the opposite. They're not necessarily open to receiving lots of value in exchange. So, it seems like a simple thing. Oh, why don't I just give away a bunch of free sessions and I'll get video testimonials? But it doesn't always work that way. The people who receive the free sessions, a lot of times they're unwilling to do testimonials, or the ones that they do are less than enthusiastic or less than valuable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what makes this whole conversation important, because it's trickier than a lot of people think. And there's probably new coaches out there hearing this now and having felt frustration and maybe feeling some recognition or relief as I describe this, because it's not just you, individual coach listening. This is the experience that all or most new coaches have when they try to get the business going, and it feels like the wheels are spinning and you're not going anywhere. So how do we get past this hurdle really is the name of the game and the topic of the episode.
Yeah. How do you get past the hurdle, and how do you come up with some creative ways to get those initial testimonials?
Yeah, because the answer, in my opinion, really is not giving away your service for free in exchange for testimonials. That might work, but it may not, right?
Yeah.
So what else can we do? What else can we do to build our social proof, to put ourselves in a position where people can look at us and see our testimonials and see our case studies and be happy and ready and excited to pay for our service and to pay what it's worth, more importantly, right?
Yeah.
What do you got, Alana? What are your big tips?
For me personally, offering a free session worked for me. And, I know what you want to share too about having paid clients and getting some good testimonials from paid clients, which I have done as well. But I kind of went at it from like a different angle. I was part of a group of women who were the target demographic of the women that I wanted to be working with. They were professional. They were, high achieving, successful women. But they also really had no idea what hypnotherapy was or like what I did for a living. And so to insert myself into this group and share my expertise and share what I had to offer, I offered anyone in the group who was interested a free session. And I ended up getting like 40 bookings to have one free session, one free hypnotherapy session.
Yeah.
And I went into it with the intention of, this is going to build my authority. This is going to like just get hypnosis out there. This is going to help me build a network of women who potentially could refer me to someone or talk about me or invite me on their podcast or whatever. As a result, I did these like 40 free sessions with women, and not everyone gave me a testimonial, but many of them did. And even the ones who maybe didn't give me a testimonial, something came of my experience with them, right? So it's not like I walked away with 40 testimonials, but I definitely walked away with like 20.
Yeah.
And those were really great. And that I was able to put on my website and, get some validation behind the work that I do. So, I mean, that's sort of a different example in that I wasn't actively going out there seeking free clients, like on social media or something like that. Like I was already in a group with people who I knew I really wanted to work with, people who I knew would probably be receptive to what I was offering. And I also trusted too that a lot of them are also entrepreneurs. And so they know the value of a testimonial. So like I knew that it was going to be, pretty easy to get testimonials or feedback from these women. So that was my experience with, or that's one way, if I could offer a tip to get you to offer your service in exchange for a testimonial in a free way, but that's very contained.
Okay, yeah. So tip number one, sometimes free for testimonials will work, as Alana said.
Yeah.
I like that caveat that it's within a controlled environment, right?
Yeah.
I think if
Yeah.
ever there's an exception to this rule, it's something like that where you're connected to the potential clients in some professional capacity. So people, either other members of a mastermind that you're in, sure, or other members of a professional training that you are in, sure. In those cases, probably you could elicit high quality testimonials.
Yeah.
In
The
those
other
cases,
thing, the other thing with this group is it was a coaching group, right?
yeah,
So they were all invested in personal development. They were all
yeah,
interested in personal development. So this was like a nice add-on to what they were already doing.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, I like that. The other kind of exception to the free rule that's definitely worth mentioning
Mm-hmm.
is, and this is an exception to the free rule in a couple of ways, in that this exception will allow you to get good quality testimonials, and even though these people are not necessarily paying you, they probably will still get quality results from working with you, and that is other members of the training that you are in to become a coach and or hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're an NLP practitioner and you did a 7-day practitioner course, kind of the traditional way of learning NLP, those other people that were in the course with you, either after the fact, you could do a session with them and get a video testimonial, or think back to the people who were your partners during the practice sessions during your NLP or hypnosis or coaching training and hit them up for a video testimonial.
Yeah.
Assuming they got results with you, because they're a real human. You did real work. There's no role playing or acting in coaching training. When we do breakout rooms, when we do practice, it's all for real. So
Mm-hmm.
assuming those people got real results, they're a potential source of good quality testimonials as well, right?
Totally. Yeah. That is another good tip for sure.
Yeah. And likewise, then, it's win-win, because if they worked on you or they want to work on you, potential coach who's listening, then you can give them a video testimonial too.
Yeah.
And all of you all out there listening, you might notice that I continually keep saying video testimonial rather than testimonial. And that's because you should always aim for the video testimonial, and sort of the downsell or the fallback, if somebody is not comfortable doing a video testimonial, is the written testimonial. But one video testimonial, in terms of dollars through the door, is probably worth 50 or 100 written testimonials, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. It is
So whenever
nice to have
possible, get the video. Yeah. I want to dive into my guide here, the Killer Testimonials Guide, a little bit.
that. Okay.
Oh, there's so much good information in here. We don't have time for me to read the whole thing. It's only a 4-page PDF, but I'm very proud of it, actually. But one thing to remember, existing clients are the best source of testimonials, like existing satisfied clients.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who are out there and you do good work and you haven't yet had paid clients, or you've had one or two, and for whatever reason you're not able to get a video or otherwise testimonial from them, I want to highlight that a satisfied customer testimonial is only one of the types of testimonials that are beneficial to have for your business. I want to highlight another type of testimonial, which is going to be really valuable for new and growing coaches, and that is the character testimonial or reference testimonial. Okay. Yeah. This is where, and everybody's going to have this, because it could be somebody who trained you. It could be somebody you worked alongside at a job. It could be any number of people. A character testimonial is somebody who knows you and knows you're a person of high integrity and high skill, getting on video or writing it out and just speaking to the quality of your character and or your skill.
Yeah.
Right. So hypothetically for me, when I was starting out in the coaching industry, if I didn't have a lot of testimonials, or I wanted more, or I wanted people to be able to get a better idea of who I was and the type of work ethic and integrity that I have, I could have gone to any number of, soldiers that I used to work alongside when I was in the military. And I never coached them. I never hypnotized them. I never taught them about coaching. But do they know me well from being in training together and working together well enough to pop on video for 30 seconds and say, hey, I just want to, pop on video and give a testimonial about Ryan. I worked with him for a number of years, and he's a hard worker, has high integrity, and I would trust him with my life. If you're looking for a coach, I would look at Ryan.
Yeah.
Is that honest communication? Yes. Are there people in my history who would be willing to do that if I asked? Absolutely. And I would suspect most people who are getting into the coaching industry, now that you understand that a character testimonial is a thing, probably you're already starting to think, oh yeah, my boss from, my old job, or or my old coworker, or whatever. Just don't pick your mom or dad or your husband or wife or, your kids or something like that. But some third party that can speak to
who you are,
person that you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had written down here too, like, talk to friends, because most likely, we're all coaches, right? We all coach our friends. We all coach people in our life, maybe colleagues at work. And, you can look back at some relationships that you've had where you've had to help a friend through something big. And that's another opportunity for you to get a testimonial from someone as well around, like, your character, your skills, your listening, your ability to show compassion or have, good feedback. So, you don't want to get so narrow-minded and thinking, I have to have a testimonial from a client. It could be from a friend or a work colleague. The other thing that I did when I was looking around for character references was, before I got into this work, I had an online fabric store, and I had tons of reviews from my store. And many of the reviews spoke to me as the owner and the care that I took in terms of getting back to customers quickly, paying attention to detail when it came to orders, communicating with them. So those are all really good aspects. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a testimonial about your coaching, but just around, like, you as a person and how you run your business is important too. Because if you're a coach, you want to be a good communicator. You want to make sure you're following up with your clients and answering their questions in a timely manner and paying attention to detail. So if you even have any reviews or something from a former position that wasn't coaching, you can use those as testimonials for your new business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One more quick idea of how you can get some people to speak to the quality of your service is, and there's many reasons to do this, host a free training or a very low price training, and try to get as many people as you possibly can into it. So, like, host a Zoom call, a 1 hour Zoom call.
Yep.
And just offer a specific benefit, like, come to my 1 hour Zoom call and I'll teach you how to 10x your productivity, or whatever something you're comfortable, promising. Get as many people as you possibly can on that Zoom call. And then at the end of the Zoom call, just say, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed my training today. Anybody who's willing right now to hop into a breakout room with me and let me record 30 seconds of you talking about how much you enjoyed hearing from me today, I'll give you this gift. And the gift could be, a guided meditation you've recorded, or an ebook that you've written, or a $5 Amazon gift card, or whatever. It doesn't matter. And that's a great way to get real, testimonial on video quickly. It costs you an hour of your time, plus whatever little gift that you give to these people. And it's real, right?
I like it. I just got an idea.
Boom. Alana Banks.
How about this? If you review the No Excuses Coaching Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Ryan will send you his PDF of the killer testimonials.
So glad you did not say a $5 Amazon gift card, because that could add up real quick. I already earlier in the episode promised to give it to anybody for free,
I
but
know.
Alana has upped the ante and said, I'll do it either way. How about that? Please review the podcast and let me know that you've reviewed the podcast, and I'll give you the PDF. Or if you don't want to review the podcast and you want the PDF anyways, I'll still give it to you. How about that, everybody?
We're nice people over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Either way is going to work, but please do review the podcast.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I have one more little tip that I'd love to share with everyone. And I think this will help too, because sometimes when you ask someone to give you a testimonial, they honestly don't do it because they don't know what to write or they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And so when you're asking people for feedback, rather than just saying like, can you write a review or send me a testimonial about our work together, there are some questions you can ask people that will just help them kind of like zero in on what specifically they can say. So one thing that I like to ask my clients is like, what was the biggest aha moment that you had when you worked with me, or from this session or something like that? Because then they have something to hang their hat on, right? Like they have something that they can be like, oh yeah, like I had this really amazing aha moment. Then they can share that. And that's just a more authentic review than like, oh, Alana's the best coach. She really helped me with blah, blah, blah. Right. So creating some cool questions too that will stimulate a more authentic and helpful testimonial is important too. So just keep that in mind when you're asking. And definitely. Maybe for the listeners, rather than just giving us a review for the podcast, you can tell us like, what's been your favorite episode and why?
Yeah. So in the Killer Testimonials PDF, there are actually there's a little list of really good questions you could ask people to spur their creative juices when they're giving you a testimonial as well. So definitely, you folks are going to want to get your hands on that PDF. Mm-hmm. One more tip, because one of the questions that comes up sometimes is like, well, I work with a client, they get great results, they're super happy, and then they don't give me a testimonial. Mm-hmm. Right. So a couple of things on this. Try to get them, and I'm going to assume that most of you are working with clients online, try to get them to record the testimonial before you get off the call on your last call with them or your second to last call with them. You're on Zoom.
They're feeling good.
They're happy. Get it out of the way right there. Just say, hey, do you mind? Normally close to the end of one of my containers, my clients are usually excited to give me a testimonial. Why don't I save you some time? I'll just hit record right here in the Zoom room, and you can just let me know, totally informal, low key, casual, what you thought about the coaching process.
Yeah.
Right. That's great. And they might say no, and that's okay. Right. And there's a good chance they'll say yes.
Yeah.
One thing that I do, and I do this on my 3-day hypnosis trainings, is at the end, because I'm recording the call, at the end, I don't even really phrase it as give me a testimonial. I just say, hey, I just want to hear from everybody, because I do small group trainings, usually 6-8 people. I'll say, hey, I just want to hear from everybody. What did you think about the training? Mm-hmm. And it's recording, and I'll go through everybody in the class, and they'll give me their honest feedback. And then what I'll do is I'll cut it up, and I'll send the video to them and say, hey, you said this about the training on the last day of training. Is it okay if I publish it as a testimonial from you?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Mm-hmm.
And then, and then I've got it that way, and it's easier for them. And it actually takes some of the pressure off of my students, because then they don't have to think it's a testimonial. They're just answering the question, hey, what did you think of the weekend? Right. And it's more candid. And I'm not kind of tricking anyone into anything, because I'll always ask for their permission before I actually publish it or use it or anything like that. So that's another kind of idea. That's
another good one. Another good one too, in conjunction with that, is just when you're texting back and forth with your clients and they're maybe having aha moments or like breakthroughs, like in between sessions. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll screen grab the message exchange and then say, would it be okay if I share this? Obviously you need to ask for permission, before you're sharing any kind of like secret text
Of
exchanges.
course, yeah.
But that's also a nice way to just get some written feedback about what you're up to.
Yeah. One more little tip, and this applies to persuasion in general. If you're trying to persuade people to give you a testimonial, or you're trying to be persuasive at all, is to use a technique called the double bind. The double bind, which is where you give you give a person two options, and both of them are a positive result, right? So, you could say, like for me, for example, if I've recorded something, somebody said nice about me or my training during the training, and I send them the video, instead of saying, is it okay for me to share this as a testimonial, which is a yes or no question, I could use a double bind question, which is, hey, I'm really excited that you got great value from the training. Is it okay if I use this video clip of you talking at the end of training about how much you liked it? Or would you prefer to record a testimonial from me? Which is better for you? Right. And then, I'm not giving them the option to say no, although of course they still can. They could say, well, neither. I don't want to give you a testimonial and I don't want you to use that video. And I would absolutely respect that. But most people are happy to be like, oh yeah, go ahead and share that video. The odd person will be like, oh, actually, you know what? I would prefer to like record it with the, jungle behind me or whatever. That's not a joke. A lot of my students seem to have like homes that back onto the jungle. So totally cool. Right. So the double bind. The other way you could use the double bind, coaches, is, oh man, I've got some good persuasive ideas for you all. Okay. The other way you could do it is, if you're eliciting a testimonial from a client, never ask, are you willing to give me a testimonial? Right. Say, I would love to get a testimonial from you. I would love to get a video testimonial. But would you rather do a video or a written testimonial? Right. Because again, now no is not on the table. They can still, of course, say no. We're not going to circumvent anyone's free will. But now it's like, oh okay. Yeah. Some people will prefer video. Like I would much rather do a video testimonial for somebody than a written one. Some people will prefer writing. And then last thing, you got a client, they got great results from you. You've been asking them for a testimonial. They're saying they're either, saying yes and not doing it or whatever. Here's what you do. Write the testimonial for them on their behalf, send it to them and say, hey, I know you're busy. I want to make this as easy as possible for you. I wrote out a testimonial on your behalf that I thought might reflect your thoughts and feelings about my service. Can you read it and let me know if it's okay for me to publish it? Or here's another double bind. Or would you prefer to change the wording before I do so?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
and then
really good.
And then literally all they have to do is be like, oh yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. It takes zero effort from them. If they still say no to that, it probably means they have some either they have privacy concerns that they're not sharing with you, or they have some reluctance because there was some hiccup in their life or in the service or something that maybe it's not your fault at all, but just hasn't come up in conversation. So between everything that we've talked about so far in the last 20 minutes of this episode, I think this is that gives people more than enough tools to elicit testimonials from either non-clients or from their clients.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Alana?
No, I think this is great. I mean, I think everyone will walk away with at least a few ideas, and it's just to get creative, right? Don't get bogged down by, I don't have clients, so therefore I don't have testimonials. It's like, how can you get creative about getting feedback about what you do, who you are, what kind of business you run? And the other thing that we can add, pro tip over here, when it comes to even writing that testimonial that you get them to approve, you can use AI now to do that type of thing. And that makes it even easier. So, or you could even recommend that to the client and just be like, if you don't have time to write something, honestly, all you have to do is go into an AI and get it to write it for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you're not familiar yet with the power of AI, Alana and I are considering doing an episode about that coming up. So if you do like the idea of how you can use Chat GPT or AI or different tools like that in your coaching business to make your life easier, just shoot us a message and let us know.
Yes.
Yeah, and write a review
So fun.
for the No Excuses Coaching podcast.
Yeah.
Okay,
Should yeah. Anyway, so
what were you going to say?
I was going to say, should we talk about our merch? But maybe we can wait until let's wrap up the episode and then we can go there.
Cool. I just have a couple more points. I think if, the question is, should I charge for a session if the main purpose of the session is to elicit a testimonial? The answer really is it's up to you. I don't think Alana would have booked 40 sessions with that particular group that she was in if she was charging. Not that her service isn't worth it. It's just that, people tend to jump on free opportunities a little more readily than paid opportunities. And the question, and I mean, it's up to you, basically, listeners and coaches.
Yeah.
On the other hand, do not use a lack of testimonials as an excuse to not charge or to be unconfident about charging for your services.
Yeah.
Right. If you're trained, you're potentially certified, you've worked with people, few or many or whatever, you're a human being with life experiences and wisdom and intuition, you have massive value. Even if you don't have a whole bunch of testimonials behind you, you have massive value. And if you are going to give it away, make sure you know why, and you've put a boundary around how much you're going to give away, and you have a plan to move quickly to a charging model. But you know what, I didn't have any testimonials when I started charging for my trainings. I didn't have any testimonials when I started charging for my coaching, and the way that I demonstrated value then is very similar to the way that I demonstrate value now, is through my expertise. I would put high value content out, share wisdom, share knowledge, share my perspective on personal development and change. And just through people watching my video content and reading my writing and consuming the stuff that I was putting out there, it was more than enough for people to understand, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. I'm ready to invest in either, whatever the case was, either training and or coaching with him. So don't fall into this false belief, this limiting belief that if you don't have X number of testimonials, you can't charge your normal rate, whatever that is for you, what you're worth, because certainly you can, as long as you've 100%. Demonstrated value. And social proof is only one way to demonstrate value. It's a very powerful way, but it's not the only way. It's one of many ways. Stepping into that teacher archetype, as I talk about in my hypnotic marketing masterclass. By the way, if you want access to that, shoot me a message as well. But stepping into the teacher,
and then you can have
it. What did you say? Write us a review. That one you must write a review. But yeah, stepping into the teacher archetype and being that source of wisdom and knowledge and understanding is another way to demonstrate value to the point that people will be ready and happy to invest.
Yeah. One thing that I did that was very valuable was, while I was doing my NLP training, I brought not listeners, I brought my social media community into the training with me. So every day at the end of my training, I would go on Instagram and talk about what I'd learned that day from a very authentic, candid place. And as a result, when I finished my week training, I booked 3 clients at full price. $1,200 is what I was charging at that time.
Yeah.
And so I got 3 glowing reviews, right out of the gate from my training, and 3 great clients who had great results, because they had sort of witnessed me learning the skills and talking about it and talking about how it had changed my life. So it was almost like my own testimonial was enough to get the motor started
Yeah.
with, some actual paying clients.
Yeah.
Because
That's
I
another.
was like halfway, I was 2 years into being a hypnotherapist and coach when I did that 40 free session thing. And that was just sort of like a very impulsive, intuitive action step that I took. And it was really the intention there was more to build community and meet
Yeah.
people more so than to get testimonials. The testimonials was an extra, like add on that I hadn't really thought about. Um, so that's just a little bit on that. But when I'm talking about very first testimonials out of the gate, they were all full paid clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Last thing I want to address before we talk about our merch, which is exciting. Last thing about testimonials, social proof. By the way, if you have any photos or video of you speaking to groups, that's great social proof as well. So if you've done any listeners, if you've done any public speaking or whatever, even if it's like at a Rotary Club or a Toastmasters meeting, or the context doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Showing yourself speaking to a group automatically demonstrates value, demonstrates social proof, because most people are afraid of public speaking. So when they see you, it's a subconscious cue that you are an expert and or authority, or at minimum a person of high confidence, which is what people want in a coach. So that's just not necessarily having to do with testimonials, but with social proof.
Yeah.
The last thing,
Also a good reminder, if you have anything coming up, right? Get the content, have your phone just recording the whole time, or have a friend, like bring a friend with you to just record you doing your thing, because that's something that, you're so focused on giving the presentation or doing the training or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you forget afterwards, you're like, damn it, I should have recorded that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's always a good reminder, like record everything that you're doing.
Yeah. Good reminder. Yeah. Last thing is, and this is one particular point here from a coach. How do you protect yourself from doing a lot of change work with a client who then doesn't act in agreement with contract? Because this particular coach has in their contract with their client that the client will provide a testimonial at the end of the coaching process, right?
Right.
So what if they agreed to it, right, and then they don't provide it later on? Okay. So, okay, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this? Because it's a great question. It's a great question.
It's a really good question, and I have questions. So, one, did the client read the contract? Right? Because chances are they signed the contract and they actually didn't read the whole thing. I mean, you know what it's like. You're just like, whatever, I'll just sign this.
Yeah.
So, number one, did they read the client? Did they read the contract? Number two, if you have something like that in your contract, I think that it's important to go through the contract with the client before getting started. So you just kind of like go through it and read that specific part, saying like, when you sign my contract, it's my expectation with all my clients that they give me a video testimonial, just so you know that they've read it, because chances are they signed that thing and didn't read it, is my guess.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with that. And I would say, as I said earlier in the episode, just get the video testimonial on one of your calls. Add a few minutes to the last or second to last call with this client. That's another tip. You don't need to wait for a client to be entirely done their process with you to elicit a testimonial. You can be halfway through and be like, hey, I want to do a progress testimonial or whatever, right?
Love that.
Grab it then. And then the last thing is, speaking to this specific question, if the process is done, your container is done, they've committed to a testimonial, they still haven't given it to you, you can do the thing where you write it on their behalf and then just be like, and in this position, in this time, you're in a little bit better of a position because it's in your contract. You say, I've written the testimonial on your behalf. I'm going to go ahead and publish it unless you provide a different one. Right? That's a little bit more assertive, but hey, it's a contractual obligation. All that being said, if somebody really doesn't want to give me a testimonial, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just let it go. I mean, at the end of the day, not all people are going to be comfortable doing that. And not all people are going to disclose to you why they're uncomfortable doing it. They're just going to give you the runaround and say, oh, yeah, I'll do it. And then you never get it. And that's okay. People are people. In the long run, when you're out there and you're giving good service and you're empowering people and, people are getting great results, before you know it, you're going to have more testimonials than you know what to do with. Like me, I have more, if you go and look at my highlights on my Instagram, I have more testimonials and screenshots of nice messages and little video clips than anybody is ever going to watch, who's interested in my services. They'll get through 10% of them and be like, okay, I get the message. She's good. Right.
Yeah.
Before you know it, that's going to be the case for you too, coaches that are out there listening. And to the person, who inspired this episode, I know the training you've done. I know the energy that you bring. And there's no doubt in my mind that's going to be the case for you very soon as well.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about swag.
Yeah. So we have swag. I'm wearing it. You can't see because you're listening, but we've got a sweatshirt and t-shirt.
We have the one sweatshirt and the one t-shirt. Okay. So the different colors. Used. We're going to be auctioning them off. All right. Highest bidder gets Alana's used sweatshirt. Okay. It will be washed before it's no. People can buy their own, I guess, right? Can they?
Yeah. People are going to, yes. Maybe by the time this airs.
What a clear answer, Alana. Thanks.
Yes. You will be able to purchase either a sweatshirt or a t-shirt in multiple colors. And the quote on it is, drop from your head into your heart and get grounded in your knowing. It's very cool. So those are going to be available really soon for purchase. And we have ideas for others to come down the pipe.
People want the mug. Can they order the mug yet? Or are we still working on it?
Do they want the mug? I didn't know that.
Yeah. People want the mug.
Really? Okay. The mug is not.
Zanny wants a mug.
Zanny wants a mug.
No, yeah. I'm sure
so does Allison.
Allison and Zanny want mugs. Hi, Allison and Zanny.
So we are going to make those mugs available. Currently, they're not available for purchase, but they can be. So
another very clear answer from Alana Banks. They're not available for purchase, but they can be. You're going to have to twist her arm, I guess. I don't know. You write a review and we'll make them available for purchase. Cool. All right. So, but the shirts, what are we going to do? Put links
We'll have more. We're going to have links soon. It's just sort of like, we're not there yet. Maybe it's too soon to mention the merch, but just get excited because it is coming.
Excited. Yeah. Get excited. The shirts are really cool. The mug is really cool. And we'll sort it all out. We'll get it. So anybody who wants it.
Yeah. The links will be on our Instagram, on Ryan's website, on my website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What do you got going on?
Same as usual.
Cool. Yeah, me too. Same as usual. At Ryan Montes NLP on Instagram. Follow me, ryanmontes.com. Thing that's coming up for me, I already had somebody message me about it, is the Hypno Business Builder course, which is going to be a boot camp crash course. I'm really excited about it. How to do my favorite style of hypnosis and how to build a profitable hypnosis business and attract clients quickly. So if you're interested in that, I'm offering a pre-launch price of 50% off for anyone who invests pre-launch.
Get in on that.
Yeah. So shoot me a message on that. There's going to be a limited number of those. That's me. And then you are at Alana Banks Coaching.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
I'm just at Alana Banks Coaching. I used to have another one called at Love Conduit, but I'm not using that anymore. So just follow me at Alana Banks Coaching. That's it. And you can go to my website, alanabanks.com.
The good stuff is at Alana Banks Coaching.
Yeah.
And the website. Cool. And that's it.
That's it for this week. So if anyone has questions, send them because we love to answer questions. This was a great episode.
They're all great, Alana.
I know. They're all great, but I liked it. I liked them all. But
this one like
has a lot of value.
episodes. This one, yeah, lots of value. And there's more in that killer testimonials PDF. If you want it, send me a message.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, cool.
All right, thanks everyone.
Bye.